episode of the YouTube Pagan Challenge, and this week it's going to be G for Grimoire. Now, I am not Wiccan, so I don't have a Book of Shadows. I did when I was a Wiccan. I don't call it a Book of Shadows anymore because I feel it's more of a Wiccan thing. If you still call it a Book of Shadows, more power to you. I now call it a Grimoire, if I could pronounce that better. Grimoire. There we go. And I wanted to show you mine for a reason. Now, I've had friends who come onto this path and they want a Book of Shadows, and their reasoning with a Book of Shadows is because of Charmed, actually, and they want that big, beautiful book with all the engravements and the embossing and the fancy pages and the fancy writing, and sometimes that's just not realistic. And it's okay. It's okay if it's not fancy. It's okay if it's boring as shit. My book is boring as shit. And that's why I want to show it to you, because it's totally okay to have a boring as shit grimoire. Because the main purpose for it is just for information. It's just something to go back to when you can't remember something or you need information. And that doesn't have to be fancy. Just as long as it's good for you, it's good for everybody. And if they don't like it, I'm not going to say what I was about to. But yeah. So, for the longest time, I kept all of my information and all of my spells on a floppy disk, actually, which shows how old I am. It was on floppy disk, and then from the floppy disk I put it on a thumb drive, and from the thumb drive I had it on a CD. Or no, from the floppy disk I had it on a CD, and from the CD I put it on a thumb drive. And but I wanted a hard copy because if I was doing things outside, it's really hard to maneuver outside, and a laptop. And I didn't always have a laptop, so it wasn't always convenient. So I ended up getting like a regular composition book and writing it in there. Just a regular, dollar composition book that you can get at like Walmart or the Dollar Tree or anything like that. And I'll show you just a regular composition book. These were the pages. And they have hole punches here because I ended up cutting up the composition book and putting it in a binder because I was running out of space on my composition book and I had more than one composition book. And I wanted it all in one thing. And I didn't like how that looked, so I ended up buying a notebook, a journal. And this is called a jumbo journal. That's exactly what it is. And I got this, and this is a Texas thing. I got this at H-E-B, which is a grocery store here. And I got it for like $10. And this, my hand is about 6 inches in length. So it's about a good 10.5 inches. It's an 8 by 10. It's an 8 by 10. And it was, like I said, it was only $10. And here, as you can see, this was printed out because I've still been transferring a lot of the stuff that I had on my thumb drive into this journal. And I have this much filled in. But to go back to how boring it is, how not fancy it is, I'm going to move the camera a bit. There we go. How not fancy it is. It's just writing. That's it. There's nothing. There's no bells. Nothing. It's just writing. Like I have the principles of the. Like I said, I used to be Wiccan, so there's a lot of Wicca stuff in here. Principles of belief, the witch's pyramid, and it's simple as shit. Look at that, nothing fancy, and I did it all in black pen, so if I ran out of ink on one pen, I could continue writing and it's not a big giant mess, because I do have some OCD tendencies and it has to match. So it's all done in black pen, and there are times I've messed up and written the wrong thing, and I just use whiteout and write over it. But yeah, nothing fancy. Now this is the Sabbath. So there's Ostara. And if there's pictures, I did draw a couple of pictures, like the symbols for the tools, as you can see there. And then altar layouts, as you can see there, using the symbols for the tools. And then symbols, all of the symbols. And then more symbols and or runes. These are astrological symbols, but the runes, the fifth arc runes. Color magic, and then the hours and days, like what planet, astrologically, what planets rules what hour. What else did I draw on here? And then the planets with their symbol. And then this is the fanciest thing that I got on here. That's about it. And then everything else is just right. Oh, here's an example. I just whited it out and wrote right on top of it. And that's it. That's all you need on the moon phases. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need anything fancy in the chakras. And if you want it fancy, like I said, more power to you. Does it have to be fancy? No. Would it be less stressful if it wasn't so fancy? Probably. Yeah, that's all I wanted to show you. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Brightest blessings.